Okay, well, hello and welcome back to a new chapter of math. We're starting chapter 10, which is a continuation into statistics. So today we're going to be talking about stem and leaf plot, which stem and leaf plot uses the digits of data values to organize a data set. So I'm jumping right into the notes. The stem part is the digit or digits that are on the left of the stem and leaf plot. The leaf are the digits on the right. Okay, so the left side is the stem, the right side is the leaf. So we have our data here talking about the minutes of time. So the first thing we need to do is order them from least to greatest, just like we did all the way through chapter 9 pretty much. So the first thing we need to do is the smallest number is the 2. The next number is 3, followed by 5 and 6. So 2, 3, 5, and 6. And then from here, the next number is 10, followed by 14, and then 18. And then that takes us on up to 23, which there's 2 of them, which then takes us to 30, and then 36, and then the last one's 55. Again, for a check, if we notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers. So that means we wrote all of the numbers from least to greatest. We didn't forget one. So for step 2, it says choose the stems and the leaves. So what do we want to count by? So it tells us, since the data values are from 2 to 55, we're going to use the 10 digits for the stems and 1s for the leaf. So what does that look like? So here's our stem. Here's our leaf. So again, the stem is going to represent the 10 value. So we're starting with 0. This 0 represents all numbers that are less than 10. So like numbers 1 through 9. This 1 represents the numbers that are from 10 to 19. And then 2 is 20 to 29. And then so on and so forth. And I am just squeezing. Here we go. So for the 0, like I said, those are all the numbers from 1 to 9. So why is it important to write the numbers from least to greatest? Because then it makes the stem and leaf plot that much easier to write them out. So we also don't forget any along the way. So our numbers are 2, 3, 5, and 6. Because those are all less than 10. When our stem is 1, so those are numbers between 10 and 19. So that's 10, 14, and 18. So what I'm going to do here is label them. So I'm going to take the number on the right of each of them, and they're going on the right. So that's the 0, the 4, and the 8. So why did I just write the 0, the 4, and the 8? Well, when we put the 1 in front of each of those, that becomes 10, 14, and 18. But when I write it in a stem and leaf plot, I separate those numbers so that the 1s are on the left side because there's the 1, and then the 0, the 4, and the 8 are on the right side, like how I've written it. So when we look at the numbers that are in the 20s, so 23 and 23, the 2 is already on the left side, so then for the leaf I just need the 3 and the other 3. For 30, we have 30 and 36, so we need to put a 0 for 30, and then a 6 for 36. For the 40s, we're going to skip because there's no 40s, numbers in the 40s. And then for 50, we just have 55. So we're just going to put a 5 here. So together, that's 55. And then if you notice, we always order the stems vertically, going from 0, in this case, 0 to 5. And then when you have the stems represent the numbers in the tens place. The leaves, like I said, are the numbers in the ones place. So that's why all the numbers look separated. Okay, so for question 1, let's try it. It says make a stem and leaf plot of the hair lengths. So again, step 1 is order them from least to greatest. So what I see is a 1, and then I see another 1, and then I see another 1, and that's it. Now we're going to 2. There's another 2, and that's it. The next one is 4, 5, and then 7. Oh, we missed a 5. Uh-oh. Back up. So we need another 5, and then a 7. Okay, now we're good. And then the next one's 12, followed by 23, 20. And then 23. And then 27. And then 30. 32. 33. 38. No, but wait, there's more. 40. 44. And 47. Again, I'm going to check. So how many numbers do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 big numbers. 20 numbers. Here we go. Let's see if we have 20 down here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I have 20 numbers. Hopefully they're the right 20. So if I'm looking at my notes here, I'm checking. I have all of them. So again, you might have to check to make sure you have all 20 numbers, that they're the right 20 numbers. For step 2 here, it says choose the stems and leaves. Since the data values are from 2 to 55, it's actually 2 to 47. Use the 10 digits for the stems and 1s for the leaves. So it pretty much is going to look like the stem and leaf plot from above. So we have stem, and then we have our leaf. So again, we're going to use our 0 for numbers that are 1 to 9, 1 for numbers that are 10 to 19, 2 for 2 to 29, 3 for 30 to 39, 4 for 40 to 49, and then we don't actually need a 5. Since we don't need the 5 because there's no numbers in the 50s, I'm going to space these out a little more, like this. Okay, so that's another reason why we should order our numbers from least to greatest, because then it helps us set up our stem and leaf plot correctly as well as efficiently. Because we don't want extra numbers if we don't need them. And that's just my ring, just extra noises. So we're just going to move forward. So the numbers that are between 1 and 9, it's all of these. So we need a 1, another 1, another 1, a 2, a 2, a 4, a 5, a 5, and a 7. So that takes care of all of those. Now we're going to the 1, which represents 10. So numbers between 10 and 19, which I just see the 12. So we need the 2, because 1 and 2 together, that makes 12. Okay. For the 20s, we have 20, 23, and 27. So we need a 0 for 20, 3 for 23, and then 7 for 27. And then we need the numbers that are in the 30s, which are all of these. So 0 for 30, 2 for 32, 3 for 33, and then 8 for 38. And then the last one, we have 40, 44, and 47. So we need a 0 for 40, 4 for 44, 7 for 47. And that will finish up what we have here. And again, a good key, sometimes it's nice to make a key. So when we have 1/2, like we do right here, that 1/2 represents the number 12. Okay, so 12, and then our units are centimeters, because it says so up in our chart. So this is what we call a key. Sometimes it's nice to know, so that when we're identifying what these numbers mean, or when we look at a stem and a leaf plot, we know what the numbers mean. So that takes us on to the next page, to example 2. Example 2, we talk about quiz scores. So what's going on here? The first thing we need to look at, since we did not make the stem and leaf plot, we need to know what's going on. So we need to look at it. Here we go. The stem, we have 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The leaves, we got numbers. But what does the stem and leaf plot mean? That's why we look towards the key. The key shows that when we have 9/2, that equals 9.2. So this stem and leaf plot is showing us decimals. Decimals, okay. So that's good to know. So we have decimals going on. So like the 6/6 up here is like 6.6. Okay. So let's look at the questions they're asking us. It says, how many students scored less than 8 points? So 8 points, we have to think about it as a decimal. That's 8.0. So how many students scored less than an 8.0? Okay, so we have 6.6. We have 7.0, 7.5, 7.7, and 7.8. So that's 5 scores. Because we have 6.6, 7.0, 7.5, 7.7, and 7.8. So those are the 5 scores that are less than the 8.0. How many students scored at least, at least, that reminds me of inequalities, at least 9 points. So it has to be 9.0 or greater. So 9.0 or greater. So let's look at 9. So we have 9.0, 9.2, 9.9, and then 10.0. So those are 4 scores. 4 scored 7 years ago. Anyways, 9.0, 9.2, 9.9, and 10.0. So those are the 4 scores that are greater or at least 9 points. And then how are the data distributed? So this goes back to chapter 9 or chapter 10. It says there are a few low quiz scores. Shows that. There's a few of them. There are a few high quiz scores, like the ones we just talked about. But most of them, if we notice, are right down the middle here in the 8s. Which that's an 80, that's an 8 out of 10 for the most part, so that's an 80%, which is pretty good. So, some are low scores, some are very high, but most are from 8.1 to 8.9 points. Label. Oh, okay. There we go. Perfect. And then that stops me for this first video. I'll finish the rest on the second.